Insects are an incredibly diverse group of animals with over 1 million known species and many more yet to be discovered. They play important roles in our ecosystem, from pollination to decomposition. But what if one day we woke up and they were all gone? Would life on Earth still function like normal, or would it fall into chaos? Now, while the immediate effects of such a mass extinction would likely be catastrophic, life on Earth is incredibly resilient and would eventually find a way to adapt. In this video, we'll explore what would happen in the short term if all insects suddenly vanished, pollination problems. The most immediate impact of the disappearance of insects would be felt by plants that rely on them for pollination. As we mentioned earlier, there are over 1 million insect species and a large percentage of them are pollinators, including bees, butterflies, moths, beetles, flies, and more. Approximately 80% of flowering plants rely at least partially on insects for pollination. This includes many crops that we depend on for food, such as fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Without insects, these plants would struggle to reproduce, leading to a decline in food production. This would have ripple effects throughout the food chain, impacting animals that depend on these plants for food and ultimately affecting humans as well. But wait, you might say, don't plants have other ways of reproducing? Some plants can self-pollinate and others can reproduce through asexual means. However, these methods are not as efficient as pollination by insects. Self-pollination can lead to inbreeding and a loss of genetic diversity, which can make plants more susceptible to pests and diseases. Asexual reproduction can also result in a lack of genetic diversity and may not be as successful over the long term. Many plants have evolved to rely on insects for pollination because it is an effective and efficient way to reproduce. Without insects, these plants would face significant challenges in continuing their species. Decomposition delayed. Insects are also vital for decomposition. When animals die, their bodies decompose and nutrients are released back into the environment. This process is essential for the recycling of nutrients and the overall health of the ecosystem. Insects play a key role in this process, breaking down dead organic matter and returning nutrients to the soil. Without insects, dead animals and plants would accumulate and the ecosystem would become unbalanced. But hold on, you might say, aren't there other decomposers like bacteria and fungi? While bacteria and fungi are important decomposers, they cannot do the job alone. Fungi are particularly good at breaking down dead plant matter, but they struggle with breaking down tough animal tissues like chitin, which makes up the exoskeleton of insects. Without insects to break down the dead animals, their bodies would persist in the environment for longer periods of time. This could lead to an increase in the number of pests and disease outbreaks as pathogens have more time to grow and spread. Additionally, the nutrient cycle would slow down, leading to a less productive ecosystem overall. Disruption of the food chain. Insects are a critical part of the food chain. They are a source of food for many animals, including birds, reptiles, amphibians, and mammals. If all insects disappeared, these animals would be left without a source of food, leading to starvation and death. This would have a ripple effect throughout the food chain, potentially causing the extinction of some species and altering the balance of the ecosystem. For example, birds that specialize in eating insects such as woodpeckers and blue jays would be in danger. Without insects, their diet would consist of other foods, potentially leading to malnutrition and decreased survival rates. Similarly, insectivorous reptiles and amphibians, such as snakes and frogs, would face starvation unless they could adapt to eating other prey. The disappearance of insects could also lead to an overpopulation of animals that are not being kept in check by insectivorous predators. This could result in damage to crops and property and even pose a risk to human health. For example, without predators like birds and reptiles to keep their populations under control, rodents could multiply rapidly, leading to the spread of diseases and damage to agricultural fields. Impact on humans. As we've seen, the disappearance of insects would have a profound impact on our ecosystem, leading to shortages of food, imbalances in predator-prey relationships, and a breakdown in the decomposition process. But what would this mean for humans? How would our lives be affected if we woke up tomorrow to a world without insects? First and foremost, we would face a food shortage. As we mentioned earlier, approximately 75% of the world's crops rely on insects for pollination. Without insects, food production would plummet, leading to shortages of fruits, vegetables, and nuts. This would have serious implications for our food supply and could lead to global famine. In addition to the direct impact on our diet, the loss of insects could also affect the price of meat. Many animals that we eat, such as chickens and pigs, are fed a diet that includes insects. Without insects, these animals would need to be fed other foods, which could be more expensive. This would ultimately lead to higher prices for meat, making it less affordable for many people. But what about the use of insects as a food source? In some parts of the world, insects are a common source of protein. They are often fried and eaten as a snack or used as an ingredient in traditional dishes. In the United States, however, entomophagy, the practice of eating insects, is relatively uncommon. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO), the average American consumes about 1 pound of insects per year, mostly in the form of processed foods. However, this number can vary widely depending on a person's diet and lifestyle. Some Americans who eat a diet that includes insects may consume several pounds per year. The impact on humans would extend beyond food shortages. The loss of insects could also affect our economy. As we mentioned earlier, insects are involved in the pollination of many crops, including cotton, which is a major industry in the United States. According to the National Cotton Council of America, approximately 90% of cotton crops in the United States are pollinated by insects, primarily bees. Without bees and other insects, cotton production would plummet, leading to job losses in the agricultural industry and higher prices for clothing made from cotton. It's also worth noting that insects are a source of income for many people around the world. In some countries, insects are farmed for their commercial value. For example, in China, the silkworm moth is farmed for the production of silk. The loss of insects could have a devastating impact on the economies of these countries. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can take steps to protect insects and ensure that they continue to thrive on our planet. One of the best ways we can do this is by reducing our use of pesticides and herbicides. Pesticides and herbicides can have a negative impact on insect populations, leading to a decline in their numbers. By reducing our use of these chemicals, we can create a healthier environment for insects and help them to flourish. Another way we can help insects is by providing them with more habitat. As we've seen, insects are essential for our ecosystem and provide us with many benefits. It is in our best interest to protect them and ensure that they continue to thrive on our planet. What do you think? Do you think humans could survive if all insects disappeared tomorrow? What would life be like without insects? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching. See you next time.